Welcome everyone back to my weekly Priestess Rise Up transmission. Today is a special fall equinox edition, but whenever you're watching this, whether it's the fall equinox or the spring equinox or not an equinox, please trust that you're watching this at exactly the right time, that your soul led you here at the right moment for you. So if you're new to my work, my name is Lisa Espinosa, and I wrote the book Answering Your Inner Calling, and I'm currently finishing my second book, Priestess Rise Up. And so these weekly transmissions are all about that, all about your divine mission to come here and be a wayshower, be a divine midwife of this new earth that we're birthing. And so in these transmissions, I'm sharing teachings from my book, excerpts from my book. The last 2 weeks I've been reading from my book because it felt like it was time to do that. So I'm going to do that as well. And, as we are here, ready to enter the portal of the equinox, thinking about the equinox, what does it symbolize, right? It symbolizes balance. It symbolizes that point, that in-between point. And it's so interesting because this morning when I was journaling, I'm remembering right now, I was journaling about that in-between moment. When you're not in the old way, but you're not in the new way yet, right? You're in the in-between. And I was reflecting because I was noticing that I wanted to rush, that my parts didn't like that in-between. I was really connecting with the divine, with Mother Mary, with my higher self mostly, and asking, like, why is that? Why do we resist that point of the, when we're transitioning from one way of being to the other? How many times have you been like, okay, you can feel it and you just want to be on the other side, right? You want to get through it. And so what I was understanding was that it's these moments, those in-between moments, that are actually the most fertile, that actually call for us to have a deeper sense of faith and trust. They are moments that expand our minds. There's something about that polarity, right? That pull that there might be some energy that's pulling you back to be the old way and the old way. And then there's another pull from the future. And yet you are being guided to be in the present moment. And so as I was reflecting on that, and I was working on my book and, reading through it, the excerpt that came up was really about, it's right at the beginning, and it's really about reclaiming your divine mission, the reason that you're here. And, throughout my career, this iteration, some of you know I was a middle school teacher for almost 10 years, and now I've been doing this work for 13 years. So throughout my spiritual career, I've talked about that for a long time, fulfilling your divine mission. What is your unique soul's medicine? What is your life's purpose? All of that. And I've gone through different levels of understanding of that. And as I've kept healing and clearing, and by the way, I would love to know who's here. So if you want to share in the chat or just say hi, that would be lovely. If you're watching the recording, you could share in the comments. That's always so wonderful. So as I was saying, I've gone through different levels of understanding, all the way from one extreme of feeling like almost having this unhealthy relationship to that, like my worth, like my value was based on whether I fulfilled my divine mission or not. And when I recognize that, like, oh my gosh, like I'm falling into that ego trap, that the way I know I'm valuable or worthy is if I fulfill my mission, if I fulfill my purpose. And so then it's almost like I swung to the whole other, hello, Laura, the whole other end of the spectrum of like, there is no life purpose. Just kind of like feeling like, your purpose is just to be in the present moment and to be open-hearted and all of that. And there was, and so I went from that to that, and it was really me deepening my understanding of what do I believe about this? What is the truth here? And first of all, I know that the more I heal my trauma, right, I heal my wounding around my self-worth, around belonging, the more I can fulfill my purpose. Not because fulfilling my purpose is going to make me a better person or a special person, or that God, the divine, is going to love me more because I fulfilled my purpose. Not at all. That is, your soul, the divine, God, great mystery, universe, whatever you call that. Hey, Donna, so good to see you. Loves you unconditionally, no matter what. Whether you decide to completely commit to your purpose and fulfill the divine mission you created for yourself, or whether you totally don't do that, you don't get a grade, not from God, not from source. You are loved unconditionally. And that's been something I'm learning and learning and learning and learning. And it so freed me up when I realized, oh my gosh, I've got this like codependency with my sacred mission. Like, oh, I've got to do it. I've got to like fulfill it. If I don't, I'm a bad person, or I'm lazy, or it means that I'm letting God down, or whatever. So healing, that's really important. And yes, of course, we all have the divine purpose of, being in the present moment and connecting with our true source and all of that. That is true. And also, I really believe that we also have a sacred contract with our soul, with ourselves, that we came here to fulfill. And particularly if you're drawn to my work, if you're drawn to my teachings, we're here not just to ascend ourselves, to heal ourselves, even though that's a big part of the journey. In fact, not only a big part, a foundational part of the journey, that we can't be of any service to anyone if we're not doing the inner work. And yet, I also know, as I've been immersed in these priestess teachings, as I've been immersed in priestess leadership, that we are being guided, hello, Diane, to that there is a unique mission you have to fulfill. That there are some of us that came here, and I want to be really careful about how I say this, because the ego will love to turn this into something that it isn't. I do believe that there are some of us that came here, and there's many explanations for it. There's the whole explanation that, some of us are star seeds hailing from different planetary systems, right? There's a whole explanation that some of us have just been reincarnated for thousands of years. We've gone through incarnational cycles so much that we got to this lifetime, and not that it was like easy, because I know I've had a lot of challenges in my life, but that we came here already with all of this knowing and tools, even if we had to like go through a lot to uncover them, right? That we were here ahead because we were going to help the world, because we've done it already so many times, because we've made so many mistakes in other lifetimes, because we've lived so much. So when I said that I want to be mindful of how I say this, the ego likes to mess around with that and make it seem like, oh, because we're special, we're better than others, we're ascended and others aren't, and da da da. Like, no, those are all the agendas of separation. This is where what's really going to heal the planet is the intention of unification, of unity. So anytime we start to feel that separation mentality, we know that that is not coming from our soul. So I always want to be mindful, because I've been in groups where it almost becomes this like, oh, we're the ones and all the others are just, whatever. It's just, I don't have to go into that, but I want to be clear of what I mean. The other way that the ego can come in. And I find that this is more where I get hooked, and a lot of my clients and students, is the other extreme, right? The other, like, oh, I have nothing to contribute. I'm so shy and so overwhelmed by the world, and I hate technology, and I'm not a leader, and all of that stuff, right? All of that. And then which also then keeps us from stepping forward in whatever way that looks like for you. And I've said this many times. I want to be clear. This isn't about you getting in front of a camera. It might be, but it might not be. It's about your next stretch, right? You know you're on the right path when, as one of my teachers says, we're leading at the edge of our vulnerability. It always feels somewhat vulnerable. If we feel totally comfortable and like, oh, this is great, I can do this in my sleep, and we're not growing and we're not expanding. There's always the next edge, the next growth. And I don't mean like we're on this constant stressful ride. No, it's a tender openness. And so I'm going to read a little bit, just 4 paragraphs, not even, it's very short today. This is like right at the beginning, because I've been guided to relook at my introduction. Well, I'm not calling it an introduction. I don't know about you, but I don't tend to like to read introductions in books. Like, I find them a lot of times they're just not useful. So I'm not calling my first chapter an introduction. But anyway, I've been reworking it, especially after coming back from Ireland and doing all of the grid work and ley line work and the stone circle work and all of the work that we did there. There's just there's been a reworking, but I'm not going to talk about that in this section. Why this is important is because it's going to talk about this polarity that a lot of us who are called to be at the forefront of unity consciousness, right? At the forefront of activating dormant DNA, activating dormant past life skills. And I want to say this, for some of you that will mean, yes, having private sessions with clients and starting a business and all of that. But for others of you, it is just you embodying that. And then because you're embodying that, you are radiating those templates out into the world. And because you are doing that, that is what's creating the momentum that's going to shift the planetary frequency. I'll go into that more in other classes. And in fact, I'm going to be starting I've started a new class that'll start next month that kind of combines quantum career healing and the Mother Mary Masterclass. It's going to be all about priestess planetary healing. And I'm going to go into more of the ley lines and grid work in those. So that's going to be a monthly offering. I posted it today, so if you want to look at that. But so I want to be very clear. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I have no desire to do sessions with clients. Now you want to be clear that that's not coming from fear, but that's just coming from your knowing that you're like, that's not what I'm here to do, but I'm totally into this. I'm totally feel a calling. I totally feel that I was, here for a purpose. And I feel like, there's this, I am channeling healing to the planet, right? So I want to be clear about that. Okay, so remember, this is all draft form, but this is the beginning. Okay, this is for those of you who, like me, have felt too sensitive. You who have often experienced the intense cruelty of this world and yet somehow have stayed keenly attuned to the magic and love that is all around. You who have always known you're here to fulfill a sacred mission and paradoxically have felt like you don't belong here. It's precisely that polarity of knowing you're here to serve humanity while simultaneously feeling that you're not from here that creates the alchemical cauldron that is your legacy of love. So I'm just going to stop there because there's more to go into with that. But I want you to pay attention to that, right? That polarity. And it was so helpful for me when I named that for me, because I've always felt that since I was a little girl, that I wanted to help people. I felt like I was here to help people. And I had, I didn't know the word priestess. I thought I was going to be a doctor or a teacher, but I had that in my heart. So there was that strong knowing, but then there was also this other very equally strong feeling where I felt I just did not belong here. I felt just no. I just felt, yeah, like often I felt that, school, particularly high school, was extremely painful for me. I mean, yeah, there was trauma, but even if there hadn't been the intense trauma, there would have been the trauma of feeling like totally like, oh my gosh, I do not belong, like that. And that has been a recurring theme in my life. So isn't that interesting, right? Both of those, both feeling like, and notice where you are with that. Maybe you have felt more of the not belonging, and you haven't allowed yourself to be with more of the, but I also feel like I'm here to bring more love to the world, or I'm here to birth something new. Or maybe you've been more focused on that and haven't tapped into those places inside of you that maybe still hold hurt or feel this feeling of not belonging. And so that polarity, particularly today on the equinox, right? When we're, we're on the eve of the equinox, right? There's this pull for balance, pull for unification, right? Pull, like, on the cover of my book, right? The infinity symbol, right? So at that center point. So if you visualize one of the loops being, I'm here to fulfill a sacred mission. I have an important mission on planet Earth. And then the other loop being, I don't belong here. Like one of my friends would say, like, they dropped me off on the wrong planet, right? Like, beam me up to the other planet, the loving planet. Not that there isn't love in this planet, but there's a lot of polarity in this planet, right? There's a lot of everything in this planet. And that's what makes it such a powerful school. And so when we go right now into our meditation, we're going to step into that center of infinity, that infinity point, with particularly with that, with the allowing yourself to be with the truth that you have a sacred mission, you have had it, you've already been fulfilling it, but there's more to it, right? There's more until we transition. And then the other loop of like areas where you feel maybe like you don't belong. And it doesn't have to be traumatic. Maybe it's just in conversations, right? Maybe it's just like, people are talking about things I'm just not interested in, or I'm feeling, just, yeah, it can be mundane things and it can be deep things. Hello, Destiny. Where we can feel that feeling of not belonging. And so as we go into that center point, we're going to invite our soul, or your soul, to bless you, to help you to receive that blessing for your sacred mission, the mission you've already been working on, and that blessing that comes from feeling that you don't belong. Because it is precisely those of us who feel that we don't belong, and when we can do the inner healing that all of that requires, so that we don't just withdraw from the world and be like, okay, the world is terrible, I'm just going to stay in my cave, right? When we can do that, then we start to understand, like, oh yeah, I'm birthing something new, right? It's like Jesus said, be in the world, but not of it. I'm bringing in a new paradigm. I'm bringing in new templates, new blueprints for the earth. I actually don't belong to the current template. And that is how it's supposed to be. Because if it wasn't like that, I would just create more of the same that already exists. And that is a very painful journey to get to that, often painful journey to get to that realization, right? Because what does that mean? It means that the outside world isn't going to validate you on many occasions. The outside world will not be like, great job for being different, or great job for your sensitivity, or great job for, it'll be the opposite, because that's how it's designed. So, try not to overthink this. Just receive it and see where it lands, right? Your soul, your higher self is going to activate, different parts of your brain, your neurology, your DNA. That's something I'm going to be talking about a lot more, our genetic makeup, and how we're here to create new templates in the world, right? And yeah, I'm going to stop there so we can go into meditation. So let's go ahead and take some nice cleansing breaths. And bring your awareness to your hips and pelvis, to your knees, ankles, and feet. And visualize those roots of light going down your legs and out the bottoms of your feet, deep into the earth. So really grounding into Mother Earth. Remember Gaia, Pachamama. She is so, so delighted that you are here. She knows that you are here to create a new template, to weave it together. And so feeling Mother Earth blessing you, co-creating this space with us, and breathing in and letting all of that energy move up your legs and up your back and up to the crown of your head. And I just welcome your guardian angels. I welcome the archangels. I welcome whatever guides you connect with, guides that are based in unconditional love. And I call on a circle of empowerment and grace to surround our whole group. All of you who are here live, all of you who are catching the replay. Whenever the replay, whenever you watch this, there will be a circle of grace and empowerment, and a circle of grace and empowerment around the whole group and around each of you individually. And in particular, I welcome beautiful Mother Mary. I welcome beautiful Bridget. I've reawakened such a deep connection to her since my trip to Ireland. And I welcome the Divine Masculine Ascended Masters, Babaji and Jesus. And so now I invite all of us to visualize that infinity symbol. Visualize that you are in this temple, a beautiful temple of light. And in this temple of light, there is a beautiful tree, a tree of life. It's a tree made of light, but it also has deep roots in the earth. And as you are in this temple and you're looking at that tree of light, there's an infinity symbol that emerges on the ground, and it's vibrating. There's light and vibration. And you're going to walk to it and you're going to sit right at the center point. And we're sitting there in that point on this eve of the equinox. And the loop on your left, let's call that the path of your sacred mission, that strong calling to serve, to bring about planetary healing. in whatever is your unique way. So if there are any parts that are like, oh, but I don't know how, oh, but I haven't done it, oh, but send them compassion. But in this moment, I invite you to trust that. So trust that divine, your sacred mission that has spanned lifetimes. And then the loop on your right is that journey, that often painful journey of feeling like you don't belong, like you were dropped off in the wrong planet. And so as you sit in the center point, beautiful Mother Mary comes behind you with her arms open wide, right? Her iconic mudra, hands open, her heart open, and she's radiating her heart's light into the back of your heart. And as that happens, those loops start to merge. So there's a spiral now, right? There's a light from your sacred mission to that feeling of not belonging, your sacred mission, all of that. There's this grace that is coming through all of it. You don't have to control it. You don't have to understand it, but just see the infinity symbol, like this path of light that is spinning through these loops, and you're sitting at the center. Mother Mary behind you, sending healing to the back of your heart. Healing for any of those times where you felt like you didn't belong, or you felt like you didn't have your pod. Perhaps you still feel that. I know I still feel that at times. Or you have felt lonely, or like you're just kind of a spectator. And so she's just sending all of this love, and just let yourself sit there as this spirals through these loops. And as that happens, now before you stands beautiful Bridget. And I meant to bring my statue down to show you her statue, but what I see is Bridget. There she is, Goddess Bridget, Saint Bridget, whatever you want to call her, however you want to connect with her. And she's holding in her hand, she's got that beautiful flame. And Bridget is the master of so many things. And one of the things she is a master of is thresholds. I think I've shared that before, the in-between times. In one story, it is said that she was born on a threshold, that her mom gave birth. She was kind of in a doorway. She wasn't in or out, and there she was, and Bridget came out. And it's like showing, that's one of her masteries. So she's standing before you with that fire in her hand, that flame. And you know that she's holding this flame. It's this medicine. It's love. It's healing. It's purifying. Not purifying in the sense that you are dirty or anything like that. It's purifying in that it's cleansing. It's cleansing anything that isn't real. And so she's going to walk towards you with this flame. And if you accept, or remember, your higher self, your soul is in charge. This isn't me doing this. Your higher self is now inviting you, as Mother Mary stands behind you, still sending you all that love, right? She's like, I've got your back. And beautiful Bridget brings this flame, if you accept, and brings it over the crown of your head. So you have a flame hovering over the crown of your head. And just let yourself receive that beautiful flame on the crown of your head. And that flame is radiating this beam of fiery golden light that's going through your chakra channels, through your center. Don't worry if you know nothing or little about chakras, but have that flame, that golden flame light goes down through your chakra center, down through your perineum into that center point of the infinity. And you are receiving this blessing for peace, blessing for comfort, blessing for confidence, blessing for ease in those transitions, in the in-between. And you don't need to know how this is going to happen. You don't need to understand. You're just receiving that. Just receive. And if you are feeling ready to receive, you can have that mantra of, yes, thank you, I accept, I receive. It's one of my teacher's mantras that she taught me. Yes, thank you, I accept, I receive. Yes, thank you, I accept, I receive. And knowing that your higher self is in charge here, your soul. Your soul knows what you're ready for, and often our soul knows we're more ready than we think. And so now, as that fire dissolves, Bridget just brings now to her hands this beautiful vase of water, because Bridget is both the master of fire and water, right? That's why there are all those wells to her. I was blessed to go to one of her magical wells in Wicklow. I literally just started crying as soon as I walked in. I didn't even know I was at it, and then I was just like, whew. So here she's bringing her healing waters, and so she brings this vase, and she now is just pouring like baptismal rain, this water right where that fire had gone. And it's just this healing water that's bringing balance to the fire. Mother Mary's still behind you, blessing the back of your heart. And so now, bringing the palms of our hands in Namaste, Mother Mary comes before you, Bridget is before you, both of them, sending you so much love. You're just going to ask them, or ask one of them, or both of them, whoever you're guided to. Show me a symbol that represents my sacred mission. Show me a symbol that represents my sacred mission. Show me a symbol that represents my sacred mission. And just receive it in your heart. Trust that it's soaking into your heart, even if you're not aware yet of what it is. And we thank Mother Mary, we thank Bridget, we thank all of these divine beings, we thank your beautiful soul. See yourself back in your room. Feel the earth underneath you. And we close this meditation with a namaste. Namaste, everyone. Whew. So if you want to stretch, drink water. Whew, the top of my head is buzzing. And remember that when we do ceremony like this, it continues. Hey Jill, so glad you're here. It continues, right? You can, so whatever symbol, if you want to share, by the way, if you want to share in the chat or in the comments, if you're watching the replay, please do so. Even if you didn't hear it, because I know sometimes when we ask, we get over like excited or over fearful, like, am I making it up? Is it this, is that? Trust that it's there. You'll become aware of it. And particularly today and tomorrow, pay attention to the signs in nature. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the songs you're drawn to. Move, ground, whatever you can do to really help integrate, right? Today's session, that will be lovely. Oh, thank you. My symbol was Metatrom's cube of light inside a heart. I love that, Jill. That's so beautiful. Yes. Yeah, I've been really connecting with Pegasus the last 2 weeks. And so that's what I saw, this like, and I don't know what the plural of Pegasus is. I've been like, is it Pegasuses? Like I've actually asked a Pegasus today and he was like, just Pegasus. So anyway, I saw these like, it was like this temple, this beautiful golden temple and this like beautiful staircase and these like Pegasus just like, I don't know, flying to it, lining the staircase. I don't know. It's Pegasus, Pegasus, Pegasus. That was my symbol. So let's pull a card and then we'll be done. I know went a little longer than usual today. I want to remind you, if you're in the Chicago area, I am having a very special retreat at Relax for Life in Barrington on Saturday, October 1st. I'm so excited. I don't do a lot of in-person things right now. And I'm just it was so awesome last time. And like I said, it's just going to be such an evolution of the teachings and the music and the songs and everything right now. So I'm excited about that. And the priestess training that starts also in October. If your heart is calling you to that, please do not tell yourself that you're not ready. Please do not tell yourself that, oh, I'm not a priestess. You don't have to call yourself a priestess. If you feel called to it, read the description there and see if that calls to your heart. And if you have questions, email me. And if you want to hop on a Zoom call, like a 15-minute, complimentary call to ask questions about that without any pressure, because I want only people to sign up who feel like it's a resounding yes for them and for me, please feel free to do that as well. More info about the retreat. Yes, Destiny, if you go to my website and my Facebook page, it's all there, but it's October 1st. There are 6 CEUs available for those of you who that matters. It's going to be all about really how do you master self-love and compassion as you go through your initiations. I'm so glad, Destiny. I hope you go. Yes, I would love to. I think I met you once that's right, at Solder World. Yes. Okay, let me put this here. All right, what is the message? You can't make this up, okay? So what did we get? Sacred purpose. Oh my gosh. And it says eternal flame. Like, seriously? Okay, sacred purpose, eternal flame, ancestral legacy. Look at this gorgeous card. And I was going to say at some point when the flame came down that Bridget Zenning, I felt like then we each had a flame in our hand and I kind of forgot to say it, but that's what this picture reminds me of. But look at that, sacred purpose, eternal flame, ancestral legacy. Oh, that's something I'm really connecting with a lot, is our ancestors that are here as part of our divine team. I'll be doing a sacred travel in October, all about that, with one of my teachers. And I've really been connecting with that. Look at that. And this is from the Priestess of the Light Oracle, which I love. All right, my dears, thank you so much, everyone, for... Okay, I really want to end, but there was 2 cards that got pulled. So it was that one, and then there was another card that flew out. So I just have to read it. I've never gotten this one before. So it was this one, and then it's Wings of Light, Becoming Something New. Look at this gorgeous card. I mean, can that be more perfect? Sacred purpose, and then Wings of Light. May I ask a question? Is Mother Mary still there? I don't know what you mean, Destiny. Like there, I'm not sure what you mean. She is here and she's always around and she's always present. And I'm so connected to her. And actually, I loved reading about stories where Bridget was like Mother Mary's midwife when she gave birth. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But all right. Bye, everyone. This went over. Thank you so, so much. I will see you next week at 2:30. I believe I'll be able to keep this time consistent for the rest of the year. So please subscribe to my channel if this calls to you. Let people know if you think there's people who would benefit from these teachings. Comment on the videos because that helps get the word out. And I'll talk to you soon. All right. So Destiny, you might want to reach out to me separate so we can have that conversation. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye, Donna. Bye, Destiny. Bye, Jill and Laura and everybody else, Diane, and anyone else who's watching and anyone else who's watching the replay. Thank you. Bye-bye.